Hello designers, you're welcome back once again. Today I'm gonna be teaching you how to make a camp collar shirt, as you can see in this video. So I made this outfit with 3 yards for my short and the shirt. I used 3 yards for both of them. So I'm gonna be dropping a link on how to sew the short, so watch out for that. I'll be dropping that in the description box. Okay, so to mark out the length of your front piece, you add 1 inch to your actual length. If the length of your top is 27, you add 1 inch to it to get 28. Okay, so if your length is 26, you add 1 inch to your length to get 27. Okay, so now I'm just cutting out the length I want for my top. As you can see, my fabric is on fold. I won't be needing the selvage of this Ankara because I won't want it to show. So here I'm just trimming out the selvage part of the shirt. So I'm going to fold. You can see my fabric is on fold. So I'm working on the open part. Don't forget to mark the wrong side of your fabric. So you know the front and the back, because this Ankara piece looks similar on both sides. So now I'm going to fold my fabric like so, and I'm going to mark 4 inches all the way down to the end. Okay, so this will serve as my front lapel, front collar. Okay, so this will serve as the lapel part for the front collar. Okay, so ironing is very, very important in fashion designing. If you are on this channel and you don't like to iron, please, you can step backward though, because ironing just gives your finishing a nice and neat look. Okay, so if you are a part of this family, you should know that you should love ironing. Okay, so now I'm done cutting my front length. So now I'll just place the front length on the back like so, and on that hem of my front I'll mark out 4 inches. As you can see that the beginning of my front piece aligns with the beginning of the back piece. So now that I'm done marking out my 4 inches, I'm trying to get the measurement I'll cut on my fabric. Okay, so the biggest part of my measurement is my hip, which is 45. I'm going to divide that by 2 and I'm going to divide that by 4 inches and I'll add 2 inches to it. So assuming your hip is 44, you divide that by 4 and you get 11, and then you add 2 inches to it, which will give you 12. Okay, so is that 12 inches now that you now use to cut your fabric. Okay, you need to do this calculation so that you can manage your fabric. I have 3 yards of fabric for both my shirt and my short, so I'm trying to manage this as much as possible. So you can see that my front is still on fold. Okay, my front is still on fold. Then I folded 4 inches on only the front part. So now I'll go ahead and mark 1 inch all the way down to the hem, only on the front piece. Note that I've placed my front and my back on top of each other, as you can see. So I'm marking this 1 inch on only the front piece. This will serve as my button allowance. I need very good coverage for my front. So that's why I'm marking 1 inch. If I'm cutting this for a guy, I'm going to mark at half an inch for a guy, okay, for a man. But since I'm a lady, I need more coverage on my bust side. So that's why I'm marking at 1 inch. Please do not make the mistake of marking more than 1 inch, please. Minimum half an inch, maximum 1 inch. So you can see that my back piece, I started the back piece on the 1 inch part. I hope you can see. I started the back on the 1 inch part. So now all my measurements will start from this 1 inch mark. So here I just marked my shoulder measurement divided by 2 plus half an inch sewing allowance, and I'm going to drop my shoulder by 2 inches. So I'll mark that down all the way to the 1 inch like so, and I'll connect, and then I'm going to cut this out. Note that I'm cutting both the front and back together. Make sure that both aligns on the upper part before you trim out the 2 inches for the shoulder slant. So now I'm going to drag the front piece to merge with the back piece. Still making sure that my 1 inch aligns with the back. You can see where my 1 inch started. You can see how this is. So now I'm going to fold the upper part like so. But before I fold the upper part like so, I'm going to mark out my neckline. I'll be using 2 inches for my neck width. I use 2.25 on my neck width, but you can do 2 inches. So now I'm marking half an inch down, and then I'll place my back piece like so on top of the half an inch allowance. Like I said earlier, I love to iron. Ironing is very, very important if you are a fashion designer. So now you can see me ironing that shoulder point, ironing the back piece so that I can relax on the front piece. So after doing this, I'm going to mark out my shoulder measurement divided by 2 plus half an inch sewing allowance. So on the front neck piece, I'm coming down by 2.5 inches like so. And then I'm going to connect that point together with a curve, and then I'll connect to the back, as you can see. So now I'm going to come down by 9 inches for my armhole measurement, and on that center point of my 1 inch, I'm going to mark my shoulder measurement on that point so that I can connect with a straight line like so. So I'm going to divide my measurement by 2, and then I'll come in by half an inch. So if I'm cutting for a guy, for a man, I'm going to come in by 1 inch if I'm cutting for a guy. But because I'm a lady, I'm going to be taking half an inch for mine. So take note, if you are cutting this for a guy, you're going to be going in by 1 inch, okay? So now I'll mark my waistline measurement like so. So the next thing that I'm going to do is to input my bust measurement, okay? So I'm going to be inputting my bust measurement like so on where my armhole is. So that's where I'm going to be putting my bust measurement. So my bust is 44. I'll divide that by 2. I have 11. I'll mark at 11 like so, and I'll be adding a half an inch for ease because this is a shirt. I'll mark a half an inch ease like so, and then I'll add 1 inch for sewing allowance. Okay, so here I'm just showing you that I added 1.5 inches, half an inch for ease, and then 1 inch for the sewing allowance. So now I'm going to input my waist measurement divided by 4, and then I'll put 1 inch for ease and another 1 inch for the seam allowance. Okay, so on the hip line, I'm going to be putting my hip measurement like so, divided by 4. I'll mark my hip measurement divided by 4, and then I'll add 1 inch for ease and 1 inch for seam allowance. So it's only on the bust part that I added half an inch. The waistline and then the hip line, I used 1 inch for ease on both the waist and the hip. I hope this is clear. So now I'm going to connect like so all the way down to my hip. So now I am done drafting my front piece. I'm done drafting my shirt. So on the hemline, you can make a curve on the hemline if you so desire. So now I'm just measuring my neck circumference like so. My neck circumference is 16 inches. So I have 16.5 on my fabric. Note that I am measuring from that 1 inch mark, from the point where my 1 inch started. That's where I'm measuring the neckline from. So my neck is 16. So I'm good to go. So now I'm going to cut this out. Raise only the front part like so, and then you cut out your neckline. So after cutting your neckline, if you see this slight slant at the back, just trim it out. You won't be needing that, okay? Trim it out. Make sure that it's straight at the back. So now you can go ahead and measure again to be on the safe side, okay? So I'm going to be cutting this out now. After measuring your neck, if it's too wide, you can reduce it. If it's not enough, you can increase your neck measurement, okay? If your neck is bigger than 16 inches, you can come down by 3 inches from the front on the front piece. If it's smaller than 16 inches, you can take 2 inches depth on the front piece alone. So I hope you understand this. So now I'm done drafting my front piece. So on the front armhole line, I'm going to remove 0.25 on the front armhole alone. So I just remove the back piece so that I will not mistakenly cut on the back piece. So I'm going to go in by 1/4 of an inch like so, and then I will connect that to the armhole line. So you can see the hem. I want mine straight. But if you don't want yours straight, you can curve yours if that's what you want. So now you can see my back piece is placed on top of my front, overlapping the shoulder by 1/2 inch. So now I'm just going to measure the armhole circumference of my shirt like so. I'll measure again to be sure that what I have is accurate. So now I'm going to cut out my sleeve. So my sleeve is 10 inches long. Okay, so I need 2 inches hemming allowance for my sleeve and then 1/2 inch to join on the shoulder. So making 12.5 inches. So I'll mark 12.5 inches like so. And then I will rule across. So after doing that, I'm going to mark out the 2 inches hemming allowance like so. So after I'm done doing that, I will go down by 4 inches like so, and then I'll connect with an inverted X. So after I'm excuse me. So after I'm done connecting like so, I'm going to measure that because it must tally with what you have on the shirt armhole. Okay, so it didn't tally. I have to redraw my armhole line. So now I have my 13 inches on that armhole line. So here I'm just marking my arm circumference. Okay, this is a free shirt, so you don't want your round sleeve circumference to be tight. You want it a bit loose. Okay, so that's what I just did there, and I mark that line and I connected it to the armhole part. So whatever you have on the armhole hem, you take that measurement down to the hem and add 1/2 inch to it and connect with a curve like so and cut this out. So here now I'm done cutting both sleeves and I've gone ahead to weave the sleeve. So now I'm just going to fold it like so, and then I'm going to use my hemming gum to make it stable and relax properly before taking this to my sewing machine. So I'm going to be cutting the neck collar on the sewing video. I'll leave a link down in the description box so you can watch the sewing part of this video. So that's where I'm going to be cutting the neck circumference. That's where I'm going to be cutting the collar. I beg your pardon. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to leave a thumbs up, like my video, and share to your sew friends. I hope you enjoyed watching my video as much as I enjoyed filming. Thank you so much, guys, once again. Thank you, and stay blessed.